Welcome to the Mindset Mirror Connection podcast. In today's episode, I interview my client, Laura. Laura, who is an ex-competitor, came to the Mindset Matter to recreate her relationship with her body and food. It's an episode you will not want to miss, so listen up and lean in as we elevate your mind. Hey guys, I am so excited to share a testimonial that is near and dear to my heart. My client, Laura, who's been working with me for the past 4 months. Laura is not only an executive, but also a coach herself. And her story is one that I think that many of you will resonate with. And she's going to talk about her journey with us, her journey prior to coaching with the Mindset Matter, and where she is today, and her confidence in feeling, that she can do this moving forward. And so welcome, Laura, to this testimonial, your testimonial. Welcome to your life.
Right.
As I right as I gave you a little bit of an intro, if you wouldn't mind sharing just kind of what you do and your own experience with coaching and just a little history of what life has been like before the Mindset Matter.
Absolutely. So I have really spent my entire life focused on fitness, diet, exercise, because at the age of 13, I ended up with an eating disorder, and it was pretty severe. It took me about 15 years of therapy and struggle and work, and it was horrendous. But I got out of that. I've really been stable for, gosh, how many years now? Well, I'm 63. So it's
right.
been
We need to say that because you look fabulous. So I'm glad you said that.
Thank you. But, during that time, I just learned so much. I was a obsessive dieter. So I really went, I would say, on every diet that was out there. For anybody my age out there, Richard Simmons was my fave. I did his Deal a Meal. I did Weight Watchers. I did pretty much anything that came down the line. And I was completely over-focused on the body image and the working out. And I just never really dove deep inside. And I started doing that quite a few years ago, but I really didn't have any direction on it. And that's what attracted me to you, is that okay, I might be solving some of these exterior issues that are going on, but I was always in this mode of having to fix. And it was just very stressful and extremely expensive. I mean, all of the programs and supplements, and I had, I think, 5 different coaches, and they did really well for me at the time. But none of them really dug deep inside, which is what I feel that I needed after going through all of that, is like, well, what's the next step?
Right. Right. And, being that we've worked together, that initially it was like, well, I want to get stronger. I know there's things psychologically I want to work on. And as you did the work, what was, we'll talk about the journey itself, but you really uncovered things that you maybe didn't even realize that were still a struggle for you, which we'll touch on. So, obviously moving from coach to coach, and maybe from, in your, upbringing, moving from diet to diet, then getting into the competitive world, right? So now we start competing, and you were age 40, correct, when you started competing?
Yeah, 40 or 41.
Okay. So talk to me about that experience in itself.
Well, I was enjoying life at the time. I was fairly fit. I had never even thought about competing. I mean, that was something that all those fit girls do, not
Right.
And my ex-husband, my husband at the time, brought home a flyer and said, "I think you should join this competition." I'm like, "Are you kidding me? I can't do that."
I
And
never
then
realized that's how it started.
I thought,
That's
well, why not?
interesting.
I'll give it a try. So I spent 6 months. I mean, I don't think we even had internet coaches then. There was nothing online. I bought videotapes of how to pose and how to do this. And I got up at 4:30 every morning and hit the gym, and I did all my food prep. And so I did that for 6 months. I got in fantastic shape. I mean, it was really good. And I don't think I over really dieted in that particular competition, because I was just kind of goofing around. I was just playing with it. But I ended up winning all of the classes, first place, and I won the overall and the best poser. And I'm like, I was so jacked. I mean, it was like,
Right.
I was so excited, which was good and bad. It was an accomplishment, but at the same time, it set me up on pathway of focusing and over focusing, I would say, on that aspect of my life. And I had a full-time job. I had 3 kids. I mean, life was busy, so I
Mhm.
had to fit that in. But I think that it kind of took over in my life a little bit, because I was too hyper focused on it, of the image in
Mhm.
the mirror and the scale and the weighing food and all of that. So I backed off on it after a couple of years. And then I went back when I was 54 and started the
Mhm.
cycle all over again.
Right. It's intoxicating, and you and I have talked very much about the not only how intoxicating it is, but also that sense of almost better than, like, look what I can do. Not a
Yes,
lot of people can do this. However, in the work that you've done, recognizing that that better than also puts you in a position of struggle after the fact, because we're always seeing ourselves from that lens of stage ready
right,
and our, regular day body, if we want to call it that, is not that lean body, and being able to do the work on seeing yourself in a different lens from stage ready, and we'll talk about that. Talk to us, because I know you, about your work life, because a lot of people who follow us, who listen to us, are executives, business owners, people who are in these high stress jobs. And I think it's really important to note that while when we talk about your progress with the Mindset of Matter, that you're also in the position you're in. So if you share as much as you want, you don't have to go into detail, but what would you like to share about your profession?
Well, I'm a full-time mortgage banker in the financial industry, so it's a very, very high stress job. And I'm really never off the clock, because when people want to buy houses, I have to be there. And that's some nights, weekends, early
Wow.
mornings, late afternoons. So it's very, it's I kind of liken it to being a fireman, that whenever that phone rings or that text goes off, I'm running for the pole. So it's like
Right.
constant stress hitting on me. And then I have
Hmm.
my own coaching business on the side. I've been coaching for about 10 years. And so I have that going on, and I have a husband, and I have the pets, and we want to do fun things on the weekend. So it's like, how do I put all of that in one box? And before I met you, I was doing too much. And
Hmm.
you had a really good webinar recently called, or it's on your YouTube channel, Toxic Resiliency.
Yes.
I had toxic resiliency because I did it all. And I have this perfectionism attitude that not only do I have to do it all, but I have to do it all to the best of my ability and overachieve at every single thing. So your program really helped me analyze that. Like, why am I that way? And I was able to bring that back to my childhood. I
Hmm.
had great parents, but I really was encouraged to succeed. And
Hmm.
they didn't judge me on my success, but I certainly did, because I
Right.
felt being the best at something, that means you're good. So it was this
Hmm.
good, bad thing.
Hmm.
So yeah, it's been stressful, but I've had a lot of relief the last 4 months since I've been with you.
Oh, I love that. Well, let's talk about your coaching journey. We've talked about kind of where your mindset was beforehand, not only with your upbringing, struggling with the eating disorder, struggling with yo-yo dieting, but then also getting into the competitive world, which had it, knowing your story had its benefits because you really got into strength training, right?
Yes.
During that time. And so it had its benefits, but then also it has its fallbacks, because you kind of are on this pedestal for that short amount of time. And then it's, again, the word is that comes to mind is intoxicating, to go back to that lean body. Right. And again, for you, it's kind of funny. I was talking on the podcast about why I don't compete, is because I would probably
That,
be similar to you, right? Win
right.
the things, be the best. And because my drive is getting that, achieving things, getting external validation, it can feel almost addicting, right? And the mindset of matter wasn't a part of the journey of deciding to move out of that. It just enhanced it. And so let's just start with what was different this time around when it came to the coaching process, because as you mentioned, you had been with other coaches before. What was different in our time together?
Hello, listeners. Coach Amanda here. For July, we are letting you know that our August cohort of the Mindset of Mommy's 8-week program is launching. So for this program, we are going to focus on your health before and during pregnancy through education, support, and confidence. In this program, you can expect to have more confidence for pregnancy by learning the benefits of movement and having a structured program to follow. The program will be 2 to 3 days per week, along with beginner and advanced movement options. In this program, you can also expect to increase your nutrition quality with personalized coaching from yours truly. We'll gain awareness to the changes you'll experience mentally, physically, and emotionally during pregnancy, create a strong network of support by learning about a diverse range of professionals to include in your health during this time, as well as gaining education on testing done throughout pregnancy. There'll also be a toolkit of resources that includes PDF documents, additional literature that I recommend, podcasts, and social media pages that support your healthiest pregnancy yet. On top of this, you'll get weekly community group calls, weekly written reviews, and our private forum to engage with other like-minded women. You can sign up for this program today for $3.99, and we will start our August cohort August 5th. So if you're interested, please visit mindsetofmommies.com to get more information and to sign up.
Well, in our time together, I'll talk about the similar things first, because we did focus on diet and exercise, because that's important. You can't just do it all by mind power. But I'm pretty good at tracking all of the stuff. I'm doing my work, I'm doing my workouts, but I actually pulled back on my workouts because I was getting back into a syndrome of, I need to get that body back. I need to get that stage body back. And to do that, I need to lift heavier. I need to do more time in the gym. I need to do 6 days a week. And so we talked about that, and we pulled that back quite a bit because that was creating more stress. That was creating poor sleep. That was actually not getting me progress. So you think if I'm stalled and I need progress, I need to do more. That's not always the answer. Sometimes the answer is to do less and be more. So I transitioned to that thinking from what's the weight on the scale or the measurements or the mirror to what's going on in here and in here, and how is that affecting how I eat, how I work out, how I live. And that was the transition I was looking for. And I got it. I mean, I really did learn where these perfectionism tendencies come from. And not only that, but what to do about it. You can know all day long where things come from, but then what do you do about it? What are the day-to-day things and the self-care that needs to be done so that those don't affect you every hour of the day?
Absolutely. Absolutely. It's funny, the first thing that we looked at was your sleep. Could you have imagined that was the thing we were going to focus on when we started this program? And I loved,
I've
go
been
ahead.
working for years. I've been working on that sleep for years, and I just wasn't getting anywhere, but it's improved substantially. And now every part of the life gets better when you sleep properly.
Right. We really pulled back on your training, training full body for, 3-4 days a week. We had other things like trigger sessions and focus sessions that are a bit less intense, and really pulling back on that. And then also giving you that boundary of, if I don't get X amount of sleep, I don't work out that day. Right. Tell me about that.
Well, you gave me a boundary that if I don't get a certain amount of sleep, I'm not allowed to do my workout that day. And I'm a rule follower. So I would get up and look at my Aura ring of how I slept, because 8 hours in bed doesn't mean you slept 8 hours. I can be in bed 8 hours and I'm really only sleeping 5.5. So if I woke up and I knew I had a workout scheduled that day and I hadn't gotten all the sleep, I would lay there just until I got back to sleep for another hour, hour and a half, and then get up like, yes, now I can do my workout today.
Right. You prioritize it.
Yeah. And it turned into a pattern then of, instead of the stressful, I need to do my workout today, it was like, I can go back to sleep for another hour gently, instead of out of fear or stress or panic.
Yeah. Wow. That's so amazing. And again, it's something that a lot of people don't even talk about. It's just so behavioral, track your food, do your workouts. But if, like you said, if I'm not getting adequate sleep, or if I'm overly stressed, those workouts become more stress on my body and I don't even realize it. What happens is the symptoms that I do have get worse, right? My sleep is even more jacked up, or even I don't see the results that I want. And a lot of programs don't necessarily focus on that. So let's talk about your results overall. Let's start with mentally. You've talked a lot about that thus far, but what do you think you've been able to accomplish mentally with the mindset of matter?
I think the largest accomplishment was to learn how to set boundaries
Yes.
because I've always heard the word, I know what the word means, but I never put it into action. And I had to really evaluate in my life. I've overcommitted to all these things. Why have I done that? Well, it just came to light in going through the program and talking to you on our sessions that I'm saying yes to everything. I'm saying yes to everybody. And if somebody is slacking in an area, I'm going to just jump in and pick up the slack. And I
Right.
had to set those boundaries and decide, minute by minute, hour by hour throughout my day, is this my responsibility? Is it not my responsibility? Do I have to take this on? Do I not? Do I have to finish my whole to-do list, or can I let these things go till tomorrow? Which
Mm-hmm.
I always had to check off the whole list. And now I can make that judgment of what's important, what's not important. And that has freed up time. It's freed
Mm-hmm.
up money. It's freed up emotion. And now I'm operating out of just being proactive rather than always reacting to things
Yes.
in business or my coaching or just my personal life.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree with you. The boundary setting has been amazing for you and being able to, give yourself that space and say, does this thing I'm about to say yes or no to, does saying yes serve me? Does saying no serve me? And making it about what you have the capacity for or what you don't have capacity for. And even sometimes I think it's important for people to note we may feel like we have the capacity, but we don't necessarily have to make ourselves busy. We may have the
Exactly.
space, but maybe I just want to chill out. And, we talk about, watch a show or just like sit on the couch where Laura before would not do that, and
Yeah.
now she's able to do it.
Yeah, I always had to be doing something to accomplish more. But the thing is that when you finish that whole to-do list, you just come up with another whole to-do list. So I just had to look at what's important and what's not important. Sometimes sitting on the couch for an hour watching Netflix is important.
Yes, thank you. And I remember having that conversation like, no,
Yeah,
that can be self-care. Where for
right.
some people, that's not self-care. And that's why it's so important for people to realize this process is custom to you, where
Yeah,
you were, where you are. And that looks different for everyone because the person who is only sitting on the couch watching Netflix, then we need to work on getting them up and moving them. But the person like you who's always moving, always doing the things, going, 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 sitting and watching a show is self-care, and that's so important. In
And
regards to physical, oh, go ahead.
oh, I was going to say, you just triggered in my mind, balance is the key. I've always been imbalanced. And the competing actually fed into that because when you compete, that is planned imbalance. You're you're imbalanced on purpose, and then when you come off the stage, then you have to go into balance. And it's very difficult for competitors or anybody that's really reached a goal of the leanness and the
Right.
body they want to get back into real life and balance. And that's where the self-care is just vital to have that balance. I really,
Hmm.
really, really focused on that.
I would say, I've never competed, but I've become very lean. The self-care and compassion and acceptance that lean body, like you said, it took me in an off-balanced way to get there.
Yes,
And now I have to get back to sustainability, which, like you said, is in a balanced way and having the acceptance that that's going to look different, right?
right.
From a physicality standpoint, but also from a process standpoint. And I think a lot of people struggle with that. It's very difficult to say, well, I did all of these extreme things to get there. I'm just going to keep going with them. But we know that that doesn't
That does
work,
it,
right?
it and you can get the lean body and the strong body in a balanced fashion. And
Mhm.
that's how I do my coaching is because I
Mhm.
know I have that tendency and I know where it goes is that with the folks that I coach, we do it in a very balanced and sustainable way. And if it starts going off balance, then we just course correct.
Correct. Well, and that brings us to your balance in how you've trained this past 4 months,
Right.
physically, seeing PRs in the gym, getting stronger, and really pulling back and, being able to rest. I think from a physical standpoint, you have seen such great strides in just how you've been able to adapt. And again, the word is balance. Balance your training with how you feel. How
Mhm.
has that impacted you physically?
Um, Physically, I am much less stressed because I'm approaching everything from a now rather than fear of getting fat or fear of
Mm,
not accomplishing something and panicking over that and having that be my driver to get in the gym or eat properly. Well, the eat properly I've kind of done always, but I would say that now my motivation is that's my happy place, and I want to go work. I work out. I want to do that because I know it's not going to overstress me. I know I'm going to feel better when I'm done instead of
mm,
dragging and trying to work afterwards.
yeah.
So I just think that and that comes out in my body. My body is more relaxed, but I'm also getting better results now because my body's more relaxed and it can now do the work that it needs to do. Your body can't do the work when it's overstressed. It just can't.
Right. Yeah. I always say exercise is a stress reliever as long as the body knows it's safe,
Yeah.
and when
And
you're overly stressed, you're not safe.
yeah, and physically, I'm feeling tighter again because I had a few years of 14-hour work days and my workouts just weren't great. But now I'm getting tighter again.
Mhm.
When you get to be my age, that butt does like to fall. So it's coming up. It's rising to the
I
occasion.
love it.
Yeah, so I have noticed physical improvements and my body's shaping up in a different way than it did before. I'm not 25, I'm not 40, I'm not 50. Your body changes over time. And for a while, I was resisting that change. And now I'm looking at it saying, oh, that's new. I kind of like that. Let's develop that a little bit more and see what it
Yes.
looks like.
I
Yeah,
love
it's
it. I love
sculpting.
that acceptance. Yeah. It's
Yeah.
accepting what is now, and we oftentimes want to compare to our old selves and we can't. Even I was talking to another client who's in her 50s and she's like, my skin just looks different. And there's nothing really I can do about that. So I just need to embrace it. And I love how you're embracing this. Just a few more questions. What would you say to someone who is looking for coaching and has done, all of the diets, all of the exercise, and maybe in their case, also is overtraining, just someone in a similar way as you were prior to this coaching program, what would
Mhm.
you say to someone if they were sitting on the fence about coaching with the mindset of matter?
Well, I would say that if you're looking for a coach and you've done all these things, they obviously didn't get you where you want to be.
Hmm.
And something needs to change. There's a missing link. There's a missing piece somewhere. What is that? And how do you discover that? And coaching, pick the right coaching, I should say, is how you discover that. And I mean, personally, I spent before I started utilizing coaches, I spent tens, actually probably hundreds of thousands of
Right.
dollars on yeah, fixes or supplements or routines or buying this or buying that. And click just any clickbait that would pop up. If it told me what I wanted, boom, I would go buy that. And that
Right.
just doesn't work. So it's like, look at everything that you've done before. What good pieces did you gain from that? Continue to hold those in and just kind of trash the rest and just kind of open up your mind to look at a new approach. I mean, like you've said on your podcast before on YouTube, it's not sexy to sell inner work. Everybody
Right.
wants to see that beautiful
True.
stage picture, but I can guarantee you that those pictures of those coaches that you're seeing online are their photo shoots where they lean down or their competition pictures or whatever. That's not real life. And that's what I love about how you present. You're in fantastic shape. You're in real life shape. And yes, you can
Hmm.
get into your photo shoot shape. Absolutely. But that's not sustainable. And I
Hmm.
would say, pick a coach wisely because
Yeah.
there are good ones out there. There's bad ones out there. But you're the only one I've run into that has the full program because of your therapist background that where you can bring all of that in And I think that's what gets the full success, the final success.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. No, I agree. Oftentimes people will just look at it from a behavioral standpoint. If I can just do more, if I just had more motivation, if I just didn't give up on myself. Whereas
Right.
what we do is say, well, why do you think that?
I interrupt this episode to bring you our second July promo, which is $48 for our Mindset Method self-guided coaching program. This program was designed to help you rewire your mind through my psychological curriculum. The method: know, name, notice, and nurture. This 16-course series that you'll have 1 year's access to is going to allow you to understand and put the puzzle pieces together to why you can't keep yourself as a priority. We'll help you catch self-defeating beliefs. We'll help you create new boundaries inside and out. And we will help you reframe your mind so that you are number one in your life. If you're interested in signing up for this program, you'll find the link in the show notes below. Again, it's a 16-course series. You'll get a weekly reflection that goes through the method. You'll get daily journal prompts. You'll get access to our community forum. And as a bonus, you will get access to the Mindset Movement Fitness app for $1 for the first month. So you guys definitely want to join. So if you want more information, check the show notes below. Now back to the show.
What's underneath that and being able to clean it out. And, for you, as we talked about in the beginning, that's definitely even shown you some of your own blind spots that you didn't even realize were there.
Right.
So is there anything else that you'd like to add about your coaching experience that we haven't talked about?
Well, I would just say I loved it. Like I said, I've been with a lot of different coaches, and I like your system. You're very organized. Not only do you
Thank
present,
you.
yeah, I mean, you provide all the information, but the app that you use is very easy to navigate. I am not a tech person. And for me to be able to easily use your app and do the tasks and follow the program was fantastic. Plus, I like the weekly get-togethers because a lot of coaches only do every couple of weeks or just do like a video summary of the week. But I really love those weekly sessions because we got into some really deep things that I hadn't necessarily gotten into in the past. And it just kind of turned the light on that says, oh, okay. And I just really think that will catapult and I'll be able to do that on my own now rather than have to meet with somebody every single week. I know your goal is to work yourself out of a job and teach people how to live and how to live right. And I feel like that was very much accomplished. And I just think that you can stay on the hamster wheel forever, or you can get off the hamster wheel and walk. And that's what your program really provided to me, is a better understanding of getting off the hamster wheel and walking.
Yeah. Well, thank you. The organization piece, it makes me feel so good because I really want to make it as simple as possible, because you've consistently done the work for people watching this. Every week, our clients get a new reflection and they all build on each other. And sometimes it's hard work and it can feel overwhelming. And so streamlining it in a way that's digestible was really important for me because I already know the work is hard. And so I'm so proud of you, and I can get emotional because I think about you being in your 60s and now having this change of thinking and feeling about yourself so that you can live out the rest of your life in such a compassionate and loving place with you, and be able to then, create a life through boundary setting, through internal awareness you talked about. That is so different than maybe what you experienced before. And I'm so thankful that I get to have been a part of that journey with you. And I can't tell you how special you are to me. You've always been our biggest fan. Whew. And I thank you so much. I know this is not the end for us. And I just cannot wait to see how you've, I sent this message out. I can't wait to see the butterfly fly, and I'm so proud of you.
Oh, and I am so thankful because there's doing that inner work. It can be difficult, but it's not necessarily overly difficult. It just kind of turns the lights on inside. And my biggest fear, honestly, in starting the program with you, is that If I relax too much, if I back off too much, then it's all going to go to shit.
Right, right.
And I trusted the process, and it got better. So these rigid rules that we put on ourselves don't necessarily work. Although we think they do, they don't necessarily work. So I'm very thankful for that.
Absolutely. Awesome. Well, I appreciate you taking the time to share your experience. And, hopefully if anyone is listening to this, they have any questions or want to reach out to you, I will share maybe your email. Is that okay if they have any questions for you?
Well, I'm on Facebook, so I'll give you the link to my Facebook, and they can just friend me there.
Yes, because what I noticed is when we have these conversations, people really want to talk to you, about your experience. So,
Sure.
and I always promote that.
Yeah, you can put my business email in there. It's the company's called Decoding Fat Loss, and it's not just about fat loss. We do the inner work as well. But yeah, you can post that as well.
Awesome. All right. Well, thank you so much. Isn't Laura absolutely amazing? I'm so glad to have shared that story with you all. If you are like, yes, I want to be like Laura, I want to train with the Mindset of Matter, you will find a link to our clarity call below. Please follow us too on Instagram. You'll find me at Mindset of Matter Coaching and Coach Amanda at fitbyamanda.az. You'll also find our recordings of this on YouTube at The Mindset of Matter. And if you like this episode, please rate, review, subscribe, share with your friends. We love sharing. And if you take only one thing away from this episode, it is this: what you say in your mind, you see in the mirror. Bye-bye.